Hola, mi compadres, ¿cómo están todos? Muchas gracias por estar aquí otra vez para escucharme en su casa, ¿no? O donde sea. Que vamos a hablar hoy de qué significa el juego de la vida, la Maya. So what is the Maya, the Lila, the playground, the matrix? And why do I always call this matrix World of Warcraft? It's a game, or Mario Kart, or Wacky Razors, like a cartoon, or from the Flintstones we are now elevating into the Jetsons. And for I growing up seeing these cartoons and playing, I never played World of Warcraft, but I've saw many beings do it. But playing Mario Kart, I can relate with this game of life. I can relate. I can always watch a movie and relate and find how the inspirations of what is also being expressed on life, on Earth, as life. And so, World of Warcraft. So let's start with that one. So on Earth we are the spellcasters, one can say. So we are the light as the darkness, the yin as the yang, the saint as the sinner. We are the magicians, the wizards, and some can even say and call them the sorceress, the priest and the priestess. So, but all depending on how you are expressing life, if it's through darkness or light. So you can become a light wizard or a dark wizard. So it's the same as World of Warcraft. It's like you're playing a game and you choose, I want to be in the evil side or I want to be in the saint side. I want to be in the dark side. I want to play for darkness. I want to play for light. It's like Heroes, the TV show Heroes. You can either be Sylar or you can be Hero Yamamoto. So it's all about your choice. Sometimes you play both of them too. Sometimes you feel like I'm a bit Sylar today and I'm a bit Hero today or tomorrow can be. So Sylar is the one that steals the brains. So it's like the Martians, one can say. So the Martians steal the brains so they can become smart, because it's like the cartoon Pinky and the Brain. So either you're the Pinky or the Brain, or you're both. Some days you're Pinky and then you're Brain. So Pinky means you're playing life with accordance with the egoic callings, which is to compete, to discriminate, to abuse, and to envy and jealousy, all through these low vibrational actions. And if you're the Brain, then you're like Einstein. So you're choosing to play life now as a genius, a prodigy. So through the conscious actions, and the ego is more unconsciousness. It keeps you bound, and the conscious actions, it frees you. It's liberating. It's freedom itself. So it's the same as World of Warcraft. So we're all a character, temporarily a character, expressing life on Earth. And we're all uniform in a way. So one day you can be very, very darkish, very, very gothic. And the other time you can be very, very angelic, very, very light. However, it has to come from whatever you're feeling. So if I'm feeling dark today, I'm wearing black. Or if I'm feeling light today, I wear flowers. So it depends all about how you're feeling. So when you're playing World of Warcraft, you're either on Earth the same as a World of Warcraft player. You decide, am I going for the light side and are we uniting together, and united we fall, or am I going for the dark side, so united we are but divided we fall. So it's all about your own individual. It's your own material, your own expressions. Me, 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 me. And that's the expression of the egoic side, so the more the dark side. And when you're expressing more of a conscious side, consciousness, it's more light. It has to do with universality, with all beings involved. So you're playing that not only for yourself as a light wizard, but you're playing for the animal kingdom, the nature kingdom, the human kingdom, for every being on earth that's evolved within the earthly expressions and shifting the paradigm shift and the evolution, and also the evolution of the star beings. So because you come from the stars, so if you are a light wizard, for sure you're coming from the stars. And if you're only playing as a dark wizard, for sure you're coming from the down feet under, from the Martian underworld, or you came because it's now closed. So in the World of Warcraft, you're doing the same. But I always say, even in the light wizards, they're transcending and they're fighting darkness. So you cannot be afraid of darkness if you're a light wizard. You understand me? So a light wizard is not afraid, it's fearless. And that's playing light sorcery too. So you are not fear of darkness, you're not fear of dark entities, you're not fear of dark energies, and you're not fearful of dark wizards because you are a light wizard. You are a Gandalf, you see? So you can fight it all. And within the play of Mario Kart, for I, is not like World of Warcraft, but it's the same because you choose your player. So either you're Mario or you're Luigi or you're Wario or you're Yoshi, whichever one, or Princess, whatever one you choose, you are finding the best tactful way to race this race and to win it, because you want to reach your home, which is the castle. And that castle is your heart, it's consciousness, it's like you're graduating from level 1 into the next and into the next until you reach the last level, and you can do rainbow sherbet. So it's like that. So why do I say a Martian competes, and it's always doing it personally? Because it feels as an identity, like I need to win, me. But star being can also feel and express competition, but it's doing it in the most genius way. So it has nothing to do with you, darling. It has to do with it reaching the highest self, so it can become one with all and remain as one with all. So that's a game of a star being. A star being is one that was birthed on the star constellation, so it's an extraterrestrial. And a Martian was birthed in the underworld, so it's a Martian. So it's an energy being. So it needs to evolve, but for its game is more difficult because it hasn't incarnated so many times on Earth, and never in the star constellations where magic is really the essence there as well as on Earth. Within the underworld, magic is not the essence, it's mostly fire is the essence. So they're very, very competitive and controlling and dominant. It's a dominant energy. So when they incarnated on Earth, that's the energy that the star beings wanted to play with. Because the star beings are the real magicians, the galactical warriors. They like the playground of dark and light. And a Martian is not familiar with light at all. It's not familiar with light. But a star being derives from the light, the aura. That's light. An aura is light. A Martian is an energy, so it's fire. It's like an element that has not reached its highest potential yet. So a Martian, it's very difficult for a Martian to play the role with light because it feels always like light might deteriorate my darkness. And that's really the truth. So light beams out the darkness. So a magician that was birthed on the star constellation, an extraterrestrial, wants to play with darkness to demolish that darkness. That's what we call alchemy. So it is an alchemist. So if it has no darkness to transcend or to play with, then it doesn't feel the drive to keep living on Earth. So it wants to find darkness, or it wants to experience darkness, so it can feel like I am the magician, I am the wizard, I can transcend this darkness into its light, original light, because even through consciousness, the unconscious was created. So through consciousness, ego was created. Through consciousness, which is light, darkness could be created. So it wants to revolt that darkness back to its original light. So sometimes it itself is silent because it feels like, okay, shit, you stole energy from me, so I have to take my energy back. So how does it do it? Via transcending that massive dark entity, one can say, in its space that is vampiring its energy. that is mortalizing, making a mortal out of itself. So it wants to immortalize itself back via transcending that dark entity into pure light. So that's a genie, a magician. So when it's playing its game of Mario Kart, it's just leveling itself up and up. And every time it wants to move to a different level, it never wants to remain at level 1, darlings. By remaining at level 1, you will never evolutionize yourself into your highest soul self. Or you will never evolutionize your energy to transmute that energy and to create an aura from it, a light from it. And then is when you have graduated the play of Leela, of Maya, of the Matrix on Earth. This is the playground. This is why we incarnated here as the Martians, as the extraterrestrials, to unite together, to convert a new type of game that is casted through, as spells, because every thought that is used is a spell that one is casting on themselves or another being, entity. So now we are in the age that we play the game of light and darkness, and now we have reached the stage that we want to commute the earth in a universality atmosphere, because the earth is suffering, the nature is suffering because of the dark thoughts and that we put on ourselves, that we cast on ourselves and others. So what happens is the energy becomes damp and very clogged on everything on earth, on the plants, within the ocean. You can notice it with the marine debris issue. It's happening in the communities we live in. So many dualism aspect comes out, and hatred, and we don't use this hatred to transmute it into some work of art, which is alchemy. So this new age is very to elaborate how we use this energy to transmute everything, so we can start to build our Merkaba in the highest vibration. So our own aura is now able to alchemize itself from dark energies, from diseases and sicknesses, so we are able to live more longer, meaning hundreds of years longer, and more prosperous. So everything is now being taken care of. So life is not out to get you, darlings. And you are not the world's greatest. You are a player of life, and now you are a player of consciousness, and not only the unconsciousness, which is condemning yourself from experiencing that your eye pops open, that your chakra starts to align and open up, and that you can now become and feel as the highest self, rather than being the lowest projections of life, because we're all projecting here. All is a projection. We get triggered. The triggers are here to use so we can transcend and to remain, or as the highest self if you are a star being, or to become the highest self if you are a Martian. So nobody is being judged, neither discriminated. What we are doing right now is we're uniting as one magical consciousness. So that's why every being on earth or energy has to now start to shift, because the earth has already shifted into the 4th dimension, and now this paradigm shift is taking us into the 5th dimension. So we are here as one playful, bountiful self to use our expressions to evolutionize ourselves into our highest self, which is the self of consciousness. So thank you so much for listening today to this expression of light and dark. And remember, you are the light as the darkness, but without you, the light, there can never be a dark side. And without the energy, there can never be transmuting to create an aura to become the conscious self. So you are worthy. Worthy is just a word. You are beyond word. You are life. You are life. So thank you so much for listening, and until next time, darlings. Muchas gracias, te quiero mucho y los deseo lo mejor de la vida, que es la conciencia universal. Peace and love, hasta la victoria, siempre. Ay, caray. Los quiero.